Welcome to the pink side. My landlady caught me in her skirt. Now I'm her perfect roommate. My name is Jamie. I'm 26, a freelance graphic designer, and for the last 6 months, I've been renting a room in the sunlit back half of a two-story house from a woman named Claudia. She's in her late 30s. Stylish. Composed. One of those women who walks like she owns the street and looks like she just stepped out of a lifestyle magazine. She teaches yoga part-time, runs an online interior design consultancy, and makes the best lavender tea I've ever had. But this story isn't about Claudia's tea. This story starts the day I found her laundry basket in the shared bathroom. That day, something inside me shifted. Or maybe surfaced. I wasn't always like this. Growing up in a conservative suburb, anything soft or feminine on me was instantly ridiculed. By classmates, by neighbors, by my own father. I learned early that curiosity had a price. One time, at 12, I snuck into my cousin's room and tried on her lip gloss. My mother caught me and whispered, "Don't let your father see this." The shame stuck. So I buried it. Years later, when I moved into Claudia's home, I told myself those feelings were long gone. That I had outgrown the quiet obsession with soft fabrics and smooth curves. That what I wore didn't matter, as long as I paid rent on time and met my deadlines. But I lied. The house was quiet, spacious, and always smelled faintly of jasmine. Claudia lived in the front half, with her own private living room and master suite. I had the guest bedroom, the shared bathroom, and a little office space near the kitchen. Our interactions were casual but warm, small talk over breakfast, occasional movie nights, and once, when I came down with the flu, she left soup and tissues at my door. She treated me like a guest, not a tenant. And that, somehow, made things feel safer, easier. But it also made me more cautious. I kept to myself, locked my door at night, and only used the shared bathroom when I was sure she was out or asleep. That's where the skirt came in. It was floral. Long flowing. The kind of fabric that whispered when it moved. I'd seen her wear it once, when she returned from a yoga retreat, glowing and barefoot, carrying herbs and crystals in a tote. It hung there on the bathroom hook, alone, freshly laundered, still warm from the dryer. It wasn't premeditated. I didn't go into the bathroom planning to try it on. But something in me flickered, like a match held too close to a wick. My hand moved before my mind caught up, and then I was stepping into it. I don't know if it was curiosity, hunger, loneliness, or all three. But in that moment, the skirt wasn't just a piece of clothing. It was permission. Permission to be softer. To feel something beautiful on my skin. To become someone the world didn't let me be. It flowed around my ankles like water. I looked at myself in the mirror, and though the face staring back was still mine, the posture, the energy was something else entirely. Someone else. I felt weightless. And for the first time in months, the tension in my chest eased. That first time led to another. And another. Eventually, I found myself timing Claudia's yoga classes perfectly. I'd wait for her to leave, then carefully pick through the clean laundry she sometimes left on the bathroom counter or in the dryer. I never took anything outside the house. I never wore it for longer than 15 minutes. And I always returned everything exactly where I found it. It became my ritual, my secret, my therapy, until the afternoon it all came crashing down. Just as you'd expect in a proper twist, there was a girl. Her name was Emma, and she was kind, sarcastic, and the closest thing I'd had to a relationship in over a year. We met through a co-working group online and started chatting casually, then flirting, and eventually dating. But I never brought her home. I couldn't risk her running into Claudia or, worse, catching me slipping out of a skirt. Emma liked her men confident, laid back, and decisive. That's how I presented myself. But it wasn't how I felt. Not deep down. Every time she'd compliment my rugged look or laugh at how manly I seemed compared to her exes, a pit would form in my stomach. Because she didn't know who I really was. And I didn't know if she'd ever accept it. The early morning light filtered in softly through the half-closed curtains, casting a faint glow on the living room rug. My heart beat slow and heavy as I tiptoed into the hallway mirror, still wrapped in Emma's pink flannel pajama set. Her scent clung to the fabric, something like roses and vanilla, and I felt a strange warmth spread through my chest. I should have taken them off, but I didn't. I just stood there, staring. The reflection didn't show me. It showed her. Or, at least, someone like her. My face was mine, but softer. My frame was lean, but with a gentle curve from the way the fabric hung. The sleeves were too long, the collar a little loose, but the way the silk top draped on my body made me look delicate, beautiful, even. I tilted my head slightly.
So, did she?
I touched my cheek. She did too. I smiled, nervously. And that's when it hit me. The panic. The wave of adrenaline. The voice in my head screamed, "You've gone too far." It was like part of me didn't want it. Like, for once, I wasn't afraid of the reflection. I wasn't judging myself. I wasn't cringing or retreating. I was seeing myself differently. Like I'd peeled back something heavy and false, and underneath was a softer, truer layer just waiting to breathe. I'd worn her pajamas. So what? It was harmless, wasn't it? Except it didn't feel harmless. It felt like a door had opened. And it was whispering to me, "Keep going." The knock on the door shattered everything. I jumped, heart lurching into my throat. The soft fabric of the pajama top fluttered as I rushed to the door and pressed myself against it. Knock, knock. A woman's voice. Light, sweet. Familiar. Emma? My blood turned cold. That was Mrs. Hawthorne, Emma's neighbor. I didn't respond. "I saw your light on, sweetheart. You left your phone downstairs yesterday. I just brought it back up." She tried the doorknob. Thank God I'd locked it. I slowly backed away from the door, trying to stay silent, careful not to let the silk of my sleeve rustle too loudly. But she wasn't going away. "Emma, dear? Are you all right?" I glanced at the mirror again. What if she saw me? What if she knew? I whispered, panicked. "Just leave it outside." "Thank you." There was a pause. Then, quietly, "Your voice, are you sick, honey?" "Oh no." Too deep. I cleared my throat and raised the pitch slightly. "Just a little sore," I said in a softer tone. "Thanks, Mrs. Hawthorne." Another pause. Then the sound of retreating footsteps. I exhaled shakily. I couldn't breathe. I needed to take this off. But I didn't. Instead, I walked to Emma's bedroom. I opened her vanity drawer. And I sat down. The lights around the mirror buzzed softly to life. The seat was warm, worn from use. And in front of me lay rows of lipstick, foundation, brushes, each one with a fingerprint of her life on it. I reached for the eyeliner, hands trembling, and I told myself it was just curiosity, that I'd wipe it off in 5 minutes. But when I finished and looked up, I didn't see the version of me I feared. I saw the girl I could be, and I didn't want to stop. The sound of keys in the door made my heart stop again.
Emma.
She wasn't supposed to be home yet. Not until Sunday. But the lock clicked. I sprinted out of the room, slipping, catching myself against the counter, nearly tripping over the rug. I darted into her room, slammed the door, and locked it just in time as I heard her footsteps enter. "What the?" Her voice rang through the apartment. Confused. Alert. I grabbed a blanket and wrapped it around myself, covering the pajamas, wiping my face with a sleeve. I couldn't stop breathing fast, my heart pounding so loud I swore she could hear it through the door. "Hello," she called. "Is someone here?" Silence. Then footsteps. Closer. She tried the door. "Why is this locked?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. I woke up tangled in silk sheets, the smell of Emma's vanilla-scented shampoo still clinging to the pillow. For a second, I forgot everything, forgot the night, the thrill, the confusion. My head throbbed slightly, not from alcohol, but from the weight of everything. I blinked at the sunlight bleeding through the curtains and stretched, only to realize I was still wearing the satin pajama set. Emma's pajama set. Her camisole strap had slipped off my shoulder, and the shorts rode high on my thighs. I pulled the covers up instinctively, shielding myself from the guilt creeping back in. But guilt wasn't the only feeling in my chest. It wasn't just about sneaking into her things. It was about how right it had felt. How free. I sat up, glancing at the vanity mirror across the room. The person looking back wasn't me. Not the version of me I recognized. She looked softer, more vulnerable, but also oddly composed. I couldn't tell if I was terrified or captivated. I stepped out of the bedroom and padded into the kitchen, bare feet against cold tiles, heart hammering in my chest. That's when I saw the note. It was tucked under a fridge magnet. Emma's handwriting. Had to leave early for Mom's checkup. Back tomorrow night. Make yourself at home. Tomorrow night. I had the whole place to myself for another 24 hours. I stared at the note, my mind racing. I could strip off the pajamas now, shove them deep in the laundry hamper, and pretend none of it happened.
Or
I could give myself one more day. Back in the bedroom, my hands shook as I approached the closet again. This time, it didn't feel like trespassing. It felt like unlocking something. I tried on a sundress, then a pair of skinny jeans, and a cropped pink tee. I struggled with the bra for 20 minutes, laughing at myself, frustrated but oddly determined. I added a light touch of mascara, lip gloss, and blush, nothing extreme. When I looked in the mirror again, I gasped. The transformation was subtle, but powerful. I wasn't just wearing Emma's clothes anymore. I was becoming someone else. Someone softer. Someone more in tune with herself. Someone I didn't hate when I saw her reflection. The day passed in a blur of emotions. I danced around the living room with my earbuds in, cooked lunch in an apron, curled up on the couch watching rom-coms I would have mocked a week ago. I kept glancing at my phone, dreading any unexpected texts from Emma. But none came. It was the first time in forever that I felt calm, centered, even if only behind locked doors. That night, I took a long bath, shaved carefully, and picked out a soft peach nightgown from Emma's drawer. The fabric was cool and smooth against my skin. I twirled in front of the mirror, a hesitant smile creeping onto my face. I looked good. And it wasn't just about beauty. It was about peace. I curled into her bed again, heart thudding. Somewhere deep down, I knew this couldn't last. But I also knew, tomorrow, when the door creaked open and Emma returned, everything would change. I stood in front of the mirror again, this time not out of curiosity, not because I was hiding, not because it was an accident. I stood there because I wanted to. Emma had given me a choice. Not a command. Not a trap.
a choice.
I looked at the girl staring back at me. Her lips slightly parted in awe, her soft features glowing under the warm bedroom light, her posture still shy, but steadier now. Stronger. She was dressed in one of Emma's old blouses tucked into a pastel pleated skirt. My legs were shaved. My nails still sparkled faintly from last night, and the scent of her floral body mist followed me everywhere. I was me, but not the me I'd grown up with. I ran my fingers through the freshly brushed wig. No, my wig now. Emma had told me I could keep it. In fact, she'd even offered to take me shopping for a better one. And the wildest part? She hadn't laughed. She hadn't walked away. She had kissed me.
Gently. Slowly.
As if kissing this new me was just as natural as when I was the old me. I stepped out of the room, heart racing. Emma was in the kitchen, humming to herself, a pot of tea on the stove. She turned when she saw me. "Hey, cutie," she smiled. I blushed. "Don't call me that." "Why not?" "You're cute." I shifted nervously. I'm still figuring out who I am in all this. She walked up to me, tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear, and whispered, "You're you. That's all you need to be." My throat tightened. The lump I'd been holding back for days finally pushed through. I was terrified you'd hate me. I was terrified you'd hate yourself. Later that afternoon, we sat together on the couch. She handed me a notebook. On the front, she'd written in pink marker, "My story." "I thought maybe it would help," she said. "Writing down what you're feeling, who you think you are, who you might want to be." I looked at her. "You're not going to push me one way or another?" She shook her head. "Nope. I just want to be part of the journey. If you'll let me." I swallowed. "I think I'd like that." She nudged me playfully.
Good.
Because I already ordered us matching pajamas for tonight. That night, I changed slowly. No panic. No guilt. Just quiet acceptance. The new pajamas were soft pink with tiny white bows.
Silky.
Feminine. Beautiful. As I slipped them on, I felt the world fall into place. Not completely, not all at once, but just enough to breathe easier. When I walked into the bedroom, Emma grinned. "Well, look at you," she said. "You wear them better than I do." I curled up beside her, my head resting against her shoulder. "Thanks," I whispered. "For everything." She kissed my forehead. "Thank you for letting me see the real you." Outside, the world kept spinning. People would talk. Questions would come. Not everyone would understand. But in that room, in those pajamas, with Emma by my side, I wasn't pretending. I wasn't borrowing someone else's life anymore. I was living mine. And for the first time in forever, I felt free. The reflection wasn't just me in Emma's clothes anymore. It was something more. My face, softened with a bit of foundation and light blush, looked fresher, gentler. The gloss on my lips sparkled faintly, catching the light every time I tilted my head. My hair, styled up loosely with Emma's help, framed my face in a way that made my eyes look larger, rounder, more innocent. I wasn't just wearing Emma's life. I was starting to fit in it. "Emma, this is kind of insane," I muttered, running my hands down the front of the lavender top. It was soft, sleeveless, and clung gently to my shape. The floral skirt barely reached mid-thigh, and I could feel the subtle swish of it when I walked. Beneath, the smooth glide of the tights was electrifying. Emma beamed at me like a proud artist. "Insane? You're stunning. I told you you'd pull it off." I turned to the side, looking again. The girl in the mirror wasn't a joke. She wasn't a prank. She was someone. But who? Emma stepped behind me, placing her hands lightly on my shoulders. "Do you see it now?" she asked softly. I nodded. "I look like someone else." "No," she whispered. "You look like you. Just a version of you you've never let out." My breath caught. Then she leaned in and said the words that sent a shock down my spine. "Let's name her." "What?" I blinked. She smiled. "Come on. Every girl needs a name." "I'm not, this isn't." She gave me a look. Not mocking. Not forceful. Just warm. "You don't have to be anything," she said gently. "But tonight, just for fun." "Who is she?" I looked again. My lips moved. Before I could stop myself, I said it.
Mia.
Emma grinned.
Mia.
Hearing her say it made my knees wobble. Suddenly, everything changed. She wasn't talking to her boyfriend anymore. She was talking to Mia. "Mia, let's paint your nails," she said brightly, taking my hand. "You'll feel even more complete." I laughed nervously. "I can't believe I'm doing this." She giggled. "Believe it, babe." Half an hour later, I sat on her couch, my toenails drying in pastel pink polish, sipping tea from a dainty mug while Emma taught me how to sit more gracefully. I kept catching glimpses of myself in the black TV screen across the room. There she was. Mia. And the weirdest part? I didn't want her to go. "Okay, Mia," Emma said, crossing her legs and flashing a playful smirk. "I have a crazy idea." "That name again, Mia." It rolled over me like a wave of warmth and fear, and something I couldn't name. Every time she said it, I didn't argue. I didn't correct her. Part of me liked hearing it, liked being it. I took a breath. "What now?" "You remember my friend Jess? From my art class. The one who models?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. Emma nodded quickly. "She's doing this themed shoot for her portfolio. Totally artsy, like bold colors, dramatic shadows, makeup, fashion, all that stuff. And she needs another model. Someone with a different vibe. Someone unexpected." I stared at her, heart already racing. She grinned wider. "I showed her a picture of you dressed like this." My eyes widened. "Emma, relax. It was just your face, your Mia look. She thought you were gorgeous and begged me to ask if you'd model with her." I stood up, pacing. "Model? Are you serious? I can't pose in front of a camera like this." "Why not?" she asked, following me. "You've already come this far. You're beautiful, You're expressive and, honestly, you look like you belong there. But what if people recognize me? What if someone finds out? Emma placed a hand on my shoulder, grounding me. It's a closed shoot. Just Jess, me, and the photographer. No social media, unless you give permission. My heartbeat was loud in my ears. I looked down at my painted nails, my soft skirt, the shape of my legs in those tights. Then into Emma's eyes. You think I could really pull it off? She smiled gently. Mia, you already are. You just haven't admitted it yet. I didn't answer. Not with words. But that weekend, I walked into Jess's studio in a breezy green dress, my lips painted cherry red, lashes curled and black. The photographer blinked and smiled. Mia, he asked. I nodded. For the next 2 hours, I wasn't a guy pretending to be a girl. I was the girl in the spotlight. The one being adjusted, praised, posed. The one who twirled. The one who smiled softly. The one who blushed when Jess whispered how pretty she looked. And when Emma showed me the photos that night, flashes of me laughing, biting my lip, tilting my head with mystery, I saw it clearly. Mia wasn't just real. She was alive. I thought the photo shoot would be a one-time thing. Something thrilling, experimental, then buried quietly. But I couldn't stop looking at those pictures. At me. Soft, glowing, powerful in a way I'd never been before. Not like him. Not like the awkward, closed-off guy I used to be. Emma must have seen it too, because a few nights later, she asked, Do you want to try a day as Mia? Like, really try? I looked up from my phone. What do you mean? She shrugged casually, but her eyes sparkled. Full day. Makeup, clothes, voice, mannerisms. Shopping, maybe lunch. Just being her. Outside. My stomach flipped. In public. You don't have to, but I think you want to. She wasn't wrong. Something inside me had been pulling, quietly, persistently. And after the photo shoot, it was louder. I paused. What if someone recognizes me? I'll take you to a part of the city where no one will, she promised. New place. New name. Just one day. See how it feels. So I said yes. And that morning, Emma helped me transform like never before. She picked out a soft pink blouse with puffed sleeves, a beige pleated skirt that floated just above my knees, and a cream-colored purse that matched my low heels. She curled my hair and added subtle makeup, just enough to look polished, natural. Then she pulled out a small box. What's that? I asked nervously. Press-on nails, she smiled. French tips. You'll feel complete. I held out my hands, and she applied each one like a ritual. When we were done, I looked at the mirror. And Mia looked back, elegant and composed. We walked through boutiques, grabbed lattes, even tried on sunglasses at a high-end shop. No one stared. No one questioned. In fact, I got compliments. A woman at the perfume counter told me I had the softest aura. A barista called me Miss. A salesgirl said, Your skin is flawless. What foundation do you use? Each word chipped away at my fear, until there was only one question left in my heart. Was I slipping further, or finally stepping forward? Because for the first time in forever, I didn't want to hide. I didn't want to go back. And when Emma squeezed my hand and whispered, You're glowing, I finally whispered back, Maybe I don't want this to be just a game anymore. The glow didn't last long. Emma and I returned home late afternoon. I was still dressed as Mia, still floating in that warm, surreal haze when the doorbell rang. She peeked through the peephole and froze. It's your ex, Rachel. My heart plummeted. I can't see her like this, I whispered, panic rising fast. Emma shoved me toward the stairs.
Go.
Bathroom. I'll stall her. I sprinted up, nearly tripping on my heels. I barely made it inside before hearing the door open. Their voices drifted up, Rachel's sharp and curious. I know he's here. His car's outside. Emma kept her cool. He's out. You just missed him. Silence. Then the worst thing imaginable. Heavy footsteps. Climbing stairs. She was coming up. I looked around the tiny bathroom, heart thundering. No exit. No lock. Nowhere to hide. I yanked off the wig, smudged my lipstick, grabbed a towel, and wrapped it around myself as if I'd just showered. When the door flung open, there she was, Rachel, mouth already open to speak, then frozen. Her eyes scanned me. The smooth legs. The French tips. The traces of mascara and blush. The clothes behind me on the counter. Her lips curled slowly, cruelly.
What
the hell is this? I didn't answer.
Couldn't.
Every word choked. She stepped forward, voice low and venomous. You're dressing up now? Let me guess. Emma's little pet project? Playing Barbie with her broken ex. Stop, I finally said. Weakly. Pathetically. But Rachel didn't stop. She leaned in, eyes wild with vindication. I always knew something was off about you. Now it makes sense. No wonder you were such a terrible boyfriend. You wanted to be one of the girls. My throat clenched. She raised her phone. Smile. I wonder how your friends would react to this. I lunged, grabbing her wrist. Don't. We struggled. Emma rushed in, shouting, separating us. Rachel pulled away, eyes lit with cruelty. This is gold. You've just handed me everything I need. Then she turned and walked out, heels clicking like a gavel slamming down a sentence. The moment the door slammed, I sank to the floor, shaking. Emma knelt beside me. I'm so sorry, she whispered. We'll fix this. I promise. But all I could think was, my secret was no longer safe. And the world that had made me feel alive was now the one that could destroy me. The next day, the messages began. Rachel sent photos, screenshots of me as Mia. Close-ups. Mirror selfies. Even one from the bathroom, blurry but damning. This is just the beginning. Her first text read, do what I say, or everyone sees this. She wanted everything. My silence. My obedience. My humiliation. She offered terms, wear what she sent, do what she demanded, or face total exposure. I broke. For days, I followed orders. She sent makeup kits, lingerie, skirts. She demanded videos, voice messages in a girly tone, photos of me doing chores like a proper little house girl. And every day I grew more hollow. Emma tried to help. She offered to talk to Rachel, threaten legal action, but I beg her not to. She'll ruin me, I whispered. And I'm not strong enough to face that. But one night, everything changed. I found myself sitting at the vanity, brushing out the long dark wig Rachel had ordered me to wear, staring at the girl in the mirror, Mia. And for the first time, I didn't feel shame. I felt clarity. She wasn't just a punishment or a game anymore. She was me. I stood up, pulled on a sweater dress, lined my eyes, stepped into ankle boots. No orders this time. No pressure. Just me choosing. I walked down the stairs. Emma looked up and gasped softly. You're beautiful. I smiled. Thank you. And then I picked up my phone. I texted Rachel. Do what you want. I'm not afraid anymore.
She didn't respond.
Not that night. Not the next. Days passed. Weeks. Eventually, I heard she'd dropped out of her internship. Apparently, one of her blackmail victims had gone public, and she'd gotten exposed instead.
Karma.
I never heard from her again. As for me, I started small. Wore Mia's look more often. Met Emma's friends, some knew, some didn't, but I didn't care. I applied for college again as Mia. I even started a blog. Told my story, piece by piece. And somewhere along the way, I stopped hiding. One afternoon, while walking through the park, dressed in my favorite outfit, a denim skirt, cropped sweater, soft curls blowing in the breeze, I passed a group of girls. One of them whispered, "She's cute." Another giggled, "Total cutie." And I smiled, because they weren't talking about a disguise anymore.
They were talking about me.